Well, we are live again. This is Toni Weel from, I think it is sunny Florida. I closed the curtains because I was getting too hot in my beautiful office. Anyway, we are a little late, and that is because I wanted to read something, and then my Word program, I was going to print it out, and it crashed on me. So now the text is gone, and I hate being late. If I say I'm here at noon, I want to be here at noon. I don't want to let you guys waiting. Anyway, today's talk is about the pineal gland, and I'm sure that Gary is going to correct me in how he is saying it. But we have with us today Gary Plant and of course Parent. I'm so sorry, Gary. Gary Parent and Sara from Virtuous Unicorns, who always both actually help me out with these podcasts and are an absolutely great addition to our learning. And when we think about the pineal gland, it is something that I told Gary that I've known about it in somewhat about it, not really knowing the every aspect of it in our body, but mostly about, oh, the pineal gland, it is your third eye and it can be calcified, and don't drink water with the chlorine. And what we just discussed is like if you swim in a chlorinated pool, you get it inside your body too. So there is a lot to learn, but what is fascinating me, and I call it the magical pineal gland, because there is so much more to it than what we know. We know about the melatonin and the day and night, but we don't know much more about that uh, about it other than that. I'm a little flustered because I couldn't find something that I wanted to find on my computer. So now I'm getting nervous. Okay, but I do want to read something that I thought was a beautiful explanation of the pineal gland, other than what we know in the medical or the body terms about what it is. And Gary is gonna show us how much more it is. But I would love to read it because I thought it was beautiful. So we start with, well, welcome to a fascinating journey into the mystical realms of our being. Let's delve into the profound significance of the pineal gland, an extraordinary organ nestled within our brains. Often referred to as the third eye or the space between our eyebrows, the pineal gland holds immense spiritual importance. Ancient yogis recognized the sacredness of this region, considered it a gateway to the soul. Linked to the Ajna chakra. No, don't know how to pronounce that. My apologies. The pineal gland regulates our biological clock and even perceives light and darkness. As night falls, it releases melatonin, a hormone crucial for our sleep-wake cycle. But the pineal gland mysteries extend beyond the scientific realm. Ancient scriptures speak of its luminous qualities, radiating a coronal light that grants vision of enlightened beings. Through meditation, practitioners have reported experiencing radiant light and deep serenity in this sacred space. There's a video, and I can find the video because they explore the techniques to activate the full potential of your pineal gland. Focused awareness, we direct our internal gaze to the point between the eyebrows, enhancing the vitality and connection to higher consciousness and light management. By managing our exposure to light and aligning with nature's cycle, we awaken the pineal gland gradually, fostering balance and restful sleep. Eye exercises that strengthen the surrounding muscles and heighten our visual perception. These exercises, shifting our gaze, enable us to observe both the physical world and the realm of the mind through the third eye. And here is where Gary is going to explain more, because he told me something that I wasn't even aware of. So always learning something new, and I'm so happy about that and grateful. So I give it over to you, Gary, and in the meantime, I will do my best to find or to put those two images on the screen to so people can see what we are talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you for having me here again. I mean, I love being on the show with you and Sarah, and am so excited to be able to share things about our body, because our body isn't just electrical, it's mechanical as well. And what the maintenance is, mechanical side, is our breath. And our breath is connected to the pineal gland. It's connected from the eighth chakra, the crown, all the way down through to our root chakra. And that vibration that gives off keeps those healthy, that energy that it gives off. It goes through the electrical system. And the pineal gland, as small as it is an antenna. So it is projecting and receiving vibration that is going on in our body. And it's also activated by our voice, our words, their quantum energy. And we're casting spells upon ourselves with that energy. The pineal gland is picking that up and projecting it out. And the reality that we are living is coming back through it into our body emotionally. And it is how we are experiencing life at this time. So whenever we have let's say something happens, whether it's a job or a relationship with a job, the frequency that we're feeling comes out in our words, okay? Because either our heart is broken, or we feel betrayed, or whatever it is, right? Or we feel in love. These are all frequencies, and they're all coming through the projection receiving energy that is done through our story. And the intent that we put on those words, whether we're angry and our words are short and our breath is short and our body is inflamed with rage or whatever it is, right? And there's infinite levels of that too. So as we're experiencing that, it's the energy outside us that's creating that, because we're caught in the chaos of the outside world. And what the pineal gland will do, and it's called pineal gland. Joe Dispenza is the one that taught me that, Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you don't know who that is, go check him out. He's amazing. So it's called the pineal gland because it controls all chakras, all the way down through to the root chakra, which is survival. It goes right into the earth. These frequencies, these vibrations, the root chakra keeps us grounded. The next one up is more of our sexual drive. And that pineal gland, where it's connected to all of them all the way down through, is connected to our genitals. And when we're breathing and we're moving, we are causing a vibration through the body, nice belly breath, chest. We're in a rocking motion and we're experiencing energy exchange with someone else. And all of a sudden, because of our breath and our rocking motions and the interconnection of that energy, we have what we know as an orgasm. Well, the pineal gland is releasing a thing called DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and it floods the whole body. And you cannot be present during that time. Those who are present usually do not have orgasms because their mind is spinning out of control and their body cannot go into the deep relaxation activation it needs for the autonomic nervous system to fire, to ignite, to explode into this energy that is coming through into the chakras, and they're all in alignment at the same time. But we have to become no one, nowhere, no place, no time for that moment to happen. The more engaged you are, the less intense that orgasm will be. Now, the beauty of this is that when we are breathing and we are using our body manually, and the energy starts to build and the pineal gland starts to fire, we can close the pelvic floor. Instead of that energy going out to create life, it comes back up through, because the energy centers are really, really close to the spine. And there's a lot of nerve endings there. And as it comes back up, it goes into the brain and you have a brain orgasm. And those are awesome. But it's the relaxation activation that makes that happen. The autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic, rest, digest, and heal, we'll say it's here. We don't really know where it is, but I'm just using this as a reference point. Say it's here, okay? And fight or flight is over here. When we have orgasm, they fire together. And that's when that happens. But when our breath is off and we're going through life, when we're caught in the chaos in the outside world, our breath shifts. It's short. It's chest breathing. You see people panting sometimes, just sitting. Well, their bodies experience a lack of oxygen because they're not deep breathing, not getting down into the belly, they're not moving that diaphragm. A diaphragm is, and I've mentioned this in many videos, it's like a toilet plunger. Your toilet gets plugged, you take the plunger and you push up and down, and it moves things along so that the toilet will flush. Well, your diaphragm moves up and down, and it gets rid of congestion, stagnation, things in the body from the genitals up. 2/3 of our fluid is right here. And we can use that diaphragm in our breaths and breathing in through the nose. That's belly breath. That diaphragm drops and it's compressing all the organs and glands. It's like a massage. And as it massages, everything starts to relax, because as it goes down, the heart relaxes. The lungs can have more oxygen in them because of the capacity is increasing, because the lungs don't breathe. They're just a sac. It's your ability for your chest to open and close. And these are bellows, basically, just like if you get a blacksmith and he's working on a horseshoe, when the fire gets low, he has a bellows, which is a thing that blows air onto the coals. That's your metabolism. That fire in that coal pit starts to increase. Well, when you're breathing in through your nose, your head is expanding and contracting. Your shoulders are moving up and down. And this is important and we don't have to exaggerate it. The body will do it itself. You just in through the nose, hold for a second, and then exhale through the mouth and relax. And what this is doing is it's pushing on something that we never hear anybody talk about. The primal brainstem, which is down here. Let's move this out of the way. It's down here. And when we breathe in, we're squeezing that, and it goes up and it pushes on the cerebellum. And there's a left and right side to the cerebellum. And in the middle, right there, is the pineal gland. So as it's pushing up and down, it's moving that pineal gland, and it's activating it because it has piezo crystals all over it. And when they bang together, they create energy. So that energy starts to build and build and build. And the next thing you know, your whole electrical system, your whole body, your muscles, everything are activated. And that's when you experience orgasm. It also is cleaning the pineal gland from calcium. So the calcium that's on your pineal gland is not hard like a rock, because it would be cutting things in there. So it's soft. It'd be like taking sugar and putting a drop of water on it, and it's slushy like that. Well, what put it there? Fluorides and other chemicals that are in our foods and things, and the deactivation of our breathing. Because when we breathe, that primal stem, brainstem goes up, and the cerebellum, our head expands, everything in there is moving. And this is what creates that energy. And we use piezo crystals all the time. We don't know it. If you get a little cigarette lighter, the spark that comes out, that's off a piezo crystal. When you're got a gas stove and you turn it on and you hear this tick, 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 there's a little hammer in there. It's hitting a piezo crystal and sending sparks out to light the fire. Well, if we want to light our fire, learn to breathe, have good water, sun ripened fruits, berries, melons, vegetables, and start to clean that. So that will clean that off in there. It's because it hasn't been vibrating that it can't clean that stuff off. Now, the fluoride's not helping. And when you boil fluoride, it becomes 10 times more powerful, or the damage it can create is 10 times more powerful, because it turns into I believe it's fluorine, but it turns into a different type of fluoride. So if we're cooking our food in tap water with fluoride in it, we're actually increasing its ability to harm us, to shut down that pineal gland. And the best way to get that off is to change our water and to do our breath work, belly breath, get those shoulders moving, get that primal brainstem moving up and down, pushing against that cerebellum and activating that pineal gland. And that's what's going to clean it off, because that stuff is kind of gel-like. And it will just go out, and you keep the 6 lymphatic gates open, which I talk about all the time, especially this one up by your collarbone. Okay, and I think we've done this on the show before, and right behind your ear, just above your jawbone, that's the largest lymph node in the neck. And then we can pull that down, right down on that muscle, right down this side. And we can do the same thing on the other side, okay? Because there's 2 sides to the body. This one doesn't know this one exists, and this one doesn't know this one exists. Because they're 2 electrical systems that come out of the spine. So even our energy centers, our chakras, they have a left and right side. And we need to keep that tuning fork that we are alive, so that we're sending out good information. This is why it's so important to change our story. I don't think I finished that with the relationships. The more distraught we are, the more out of tune we are. There's a frequency that we're stuck on, and the pineal gland is stuck on it. It's receiving it, and it can't get past it because we won't let it go. But as we learn to breathe, and these emotions start to come up, because every breath has an emotion associated with it. So as that comes up, we can ask, is this serving my higher good? Will this take me into the future where I want to go? Because after a relationship or a job ending or whatever, okay, sometimes we feel lost. Well, that's the frequency we're putting out. But as we change our story, we meet new people, we start to build our life back up again, all that other stuff goes away sometimes if we let it go. But if we keep hanging on to it, we're going to keep dragging it into the now, into the moment. And that's all there is the now in the moment. So we're dragging 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of what we don't like into the now, where we have the ability to clear it. We don't forgive others for them because they deserve it. We forgive others for us because we deserve it. And this is all pineal gland. It's creating melatonin. It lives in total darkness. The brain lives in total darkness. The only thing it has is the senses, including the sixth sense, which is hardly ever talked about. But it's the ability to put your hand or your foot anywhere, and even though you can't see it, you know exactly where it is. This is spatial. And there are people that when they get in large spaces, they don't feel comfortable. And there are people when they get in small spaces, called claustrophobic, they're not comfortable. This is spatial relationships. And they're all activated by emotion, vibration, and frequency through the pineal gland. So it's helping to create our beautiful story or our horrendous story. And we're the master of it through our breath, through our hydration, through our ability to consciously let things come up, to awaken what's inside of us. This is where the peace is. And if we're out of tune, the pineal gland can't perform properly, and it goes right through the whole body. And that's what we want to avoid. This is why when you walk in nature, you can be mad, you can be anything you want, but when you're walking in nature, you're getting the oxygen from the trees. You're getting the sounds, even though you can't hear them, the leaves, the animals, just the energy of it, especially if you're grounded. Within a few minutes, you've calmed down because you're pulling in oxygen. You're walking. The balls of your feet and your diaphragm are your lymphatic pumps, which is 5 times the size of the circulatory system. So as we're walking, right, we're pushing lymph, and that lymph, when we're upset, when we're mad, when we're sad, these are all low oxygen events. So as we walk and we start breathing through our nose and get that diaphragm going, we get the balls of the feet, the lymphatic system moving, all of a sudden it starts to clear all that out and we feel better. But it's all vibration, it's all frequency. And as we change our story and we meet new people, we start to build a new story, and we can be happy again, or we can be twice as miserable as we were in the first place, because we're the commander in chief of all that. We control our body. We do it through our breath, through our words, and through our thoughts. Thoughts are things, right? They become our reality. And until we learn to let go of what we don't want and embrace what we do, our pineal gland is going to be sending out mixed messages, and we'll live a mixed life. So, I mean, it's unbelievable what it can do and what it controls. It sees light, it sees darkness, and it's producing things because of the light and darkness. And I believe it's coming through the eyes to get to it. But the eyes control so much, constantly on the lookout for what's wrong. And those are what are limiting us, and they came from our past, things that have happened to us over our life. And it shifted our breath. And when it shifted our breath, it shifted the pineal gland's ability to clean itself, because we're not moving the primal brainstem. We're not expanding the head and the genitals and everything in between, from here to here. And we can send that energy anywhere we want in our body, because energy follows thought, And what activates that energy to move where you want it to go is your breath. So if you have a sore shoulder, all right, think of your shoulder and breathe, and the energy will go to that shoulder and it will do whatever you tell it to do. Now, it may not do it in 10 seconds, but it might. That's the whole thing. If you are familiar with Joe Dispenza and some of his work, people have gotten rid of tumors in one 45-minute session. Now, what made that happen? The body relaxed in that area, and the lymphatic system opened up in that area, and it carried all that stuff away. Because if it's trapped in the tissue, it's the lymphatics' job, the bathroom of the body, to clean that up, just like that plugged toilet. And that diaphragm going up and down and walking and moving the balls of your feet. 70% of our detox, everybody's always talking about detox. I never hear anything about breath. 70% of your detox is through your breath. And when you go to sleep at night, that's a low oxygen event. And you can't go to sleep until you become no one, nowhere, no place, no time. Because if you're thinking, you can't go to sleep. And if you're having a hard time sleeping and you keep waking up, it's because there's not enough oxygen in your body so it can function properly. And the vibration that is creating is like an SOS. It's an emergency. Don't go to sleep. Do some breath work. But we're not listening to our body anymore. We're listening to the people that profit from our inability to balance our own body. So then they come out with a synthetic pill that makes you go to sleep. Well, how does it do that? Well, you're already low on oxygen. There's a sensor, oxygen sensor, when you don't have enough oxygen that makes you take a deep breath, or it makes you do things to try to increase the oxygen level. Well, that pill shuts that off. And you go to sleep. So you just spent, I don't know, let's say 6 hours in a super low oxygenated state. And when you wake up, you even have less because you block the sensor that's trying to tell you or explain to you or hoping you will get the message that you need to breathe. Dr. Brecker, Gary Brecker, his famous quote is, "The presence of oxygen is the absence of disease." Dis-ease. There is no disease. These are all just things and words that we don't understand to cause great fear in us. And trust me, they are masters at it. You may walk in there whistling and singing, and when you come out, you'd be lucky if you can get out with a walker. They're draining our energy. They're energy vampires. Now, does that mean that everything they do is wrong? No. But their theory is a little poison, and this is true, a little poison in the body, no matter what it is, will kick the immune system in. But if you're low on oxygen and you're suffering, you have to really be careful what you're putting in the body. You want nice herbs, in teas and tinctures and salves, and these are natural. And when they go in the body, they don't cause hardly any side effects. These are all vibrations. And they're sending out signals. and they're receiving signals back. And it's why we're creating or living the life we are living right now. It's also known as the seat of the soul, the pineal gland. And they're trying to steal our soul. It also disconnects us from our body when the pineal gland is calcified. And the Hopi Indians, hundreds of years ago, as far as we know, created two timelines on a rock. And one started to go up and the other one continued. And it was about this time right now, which is even weirder, but it's true. And as the people on the top line and it started to go up, they had no necks. It was just a circle above a body. And on the bottom, there was a head, a neck, and a body, right? And this is humanity moving along the timeline of history. And as it goes up, humanity is becoming extinct because the head is not connected to the body anymore. We've forgotten how powerful we are, how powerful the body is, and how to use it through breath, through movement, through hydration, through proper nutrition, through oxygen. And at this point, humanity, according to the Hopis, humanity will vanish, or if they reconnect to their body, which is what we're talking about here, through the pineal gland and the understanding that the body is all one vibrational unit. And if we can get back down on this timeline, it will continue on. But we have to reconnect with our heart. Too much in the head. Just breathe, relax, activate. If you tell your pineal gland to decalcify itself, it will start to decalcify itself. Just like if you're in a room and you're there, let's say, for years, and there's people, all the people are coughing, eventually you're going to start coughing. It take a real strong person not to. It's like a yawn. They're contagious. Well, these are frequencies, they're emotions, and we're seeing it. And it's going into our psyche, and we are becoming it, even though we don't want to, even though there's nothing wrong. I mean, it is incredible how powerful we are. But breath is the activation. Hydration is the flow. Nutrition is the fuel. And keeping the chemicals out of our food, the industrial waste. It's like, just take something simple like fulvic acid. It's only about half the people, maybe a little bit more, that can actually process fulvic acid. And they're spraying all the crops with it. And for those that can't, they suffer. Those that can't process it, it interrupts the methylation process. And it changes the frequency in the body, and the tune that the pineal gland is putting out is one of disruption, dis-ease. And what comes back is that dis-ease into the body. And it's just going round and round and round until we change our story. We change our ability to have clean water, to get fresh fruit. This is what's happening. But we're not eating real food anymore. It may look real, but it's not. It's not real at all. The frequency of the earth is changing, and the frequency of the food is changing. The frequency of the trees are changing. The frequency of people is changing. When they lock us in a room for 2-3 years, and we're not allowed to have any contact. Weakens our immune system. And the more they come on and the more they tell us how we're going to die and how we're going to get disease and how we're all this stuff, it's putting people in fight or flight. And that shuts down your ability to reason, to digest, and it starts to kill the immune system. And they have drugs that will completely shut the immune system off. And then you become like the boy in the bubble, but you're alive, right? But you're alive. And that's their thing. They used to say that they could cure cancer. Well, it ended up being such a lie that now they just try to get you through your son or daughter's graduation, or your niece or your nephew, or whatever it is, wherever you are at that point in time in your life. They're just trying to extend your life because they have no idea how to eliminate cancer from the body. But it's a frequency, it's a vibration. So if this is divine energy right here, and that frequency lowers, which is a pineal gland or pineal gland event, whichever way you want to say that, just know that it is attached all the way down through right to your genitals. So as that frequency lowers, it doesn't mean you'll have, but you'll be susceptible to things like cold, flu, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's, MS, Parkinson's, cancer. Anything you want to put in there. There's over 22,000 listed diseases. You can put them all in there if you want to. They're frequencies, because the energy of the body is lowering. And as you breathe and you hydrate and you renutrify, and you get that primal brainstem going, and you give your pineal gland permission to release any calcification that is on there, it will start to come back up. And these can no longer exist because they're frequencies. That's all they are, is frequencies. And they gave them a name. Speaking of frequency, Catholic Church is all about frequency. The whole thing. The Masons, all about frequency. Where's the largest statue of the pineal gland? It's the largest one in the world. It's in the courtyard at the Vatican. Think about that for a moment. On the Pope's staff, there's a little pine cone on there, and that represents the pineal gland, because everything they do is about frequency. But they don't tell the people to go there that. That's for the elite. Because the power is in the frequency. It's in being able to control that frequency to go up or down whenever you choose to do it. And it's done in your words. It's done in your intention. So to get fluoride and all these other chemicals out of our body is extremely important, because it's put there for a reason, and it's industrial waste. Oh, I don't know if I finished that about fluoride. Fluoride, there is no fluoride in nature. It's a chemical made in a test tube. That's why some people can't digest it. In the water that we're drinking, okay, I've worked at treatment plants that do water, okay, the beaters and the poop pits out there, and they only take out the bacteria that will harm you. And it's the same water that the dinosaurs drank, because it can't leave our atmosphere. It goes up and it stays up in the air, and when it comes back down, and it's super cold up there, and when it comes back down, there's rain, it lands on the earth, gets purified through the filter called the earth, and then we get to drink it. The only problem now is, though, we have to test the waters, all waters, because a lot of it's not purified anymore, because we've messed it up so much. And do you think that's on purpose? I don't know. Do you think cutting down the rainforests around the world, that's the lungs of the earth? That's the other half of our lungs. It's going to have an effect on us because it's changing the oxygen levels. And our bodies will adjust to just about anything, especially stress. I had an episode where meditation, not an episode, but a meditation, and I had a massive stress relief go away. And it was created by some things that were going on in my life at that time, but I didn't even know that they were in there because I'm so used to carrying stress, just like we all are. And then when it goes away, we feel lighter. The vibration up here, the third eye, I touched that and it was like, wow. Third eye is super powerful. It's regulating everything through vibration. And as we learn to use that diaphragm to get that primal brainstem moving up and down and to let go, our limitations will go away and we become more and more powerful. And it's not that we're going to a higher self. It's not that we are already our higher self. It's the vibrations and the receiving back through the pineal gland down through the centers that are causing our limitations. Because there's a frequency out here, and the stronger it gets, the weaker we get. And when we learn to control our breath and take our power back, this gets weak. And eventually, we will have the memory, not the reaction, not the physical vibration, emotional reaction that's coming right up through these muscles right here, all the way up through to our trapeze, right up into our head. And I've been through this before, but if you put your thumbs right here, the fleshy part, and under your skull and lock your fingers like this and move your eyes around, you can feel that. You can feel those muscles moving. I just did a video. It's about eye placement, back and up and down, back and forth. Not the eyes, but the head with the eyes staying still. And then cross like this. And this is activating everything in the brain. Left, right, cerebellum, frontal lobes. Everything in the brain is being moved. And there's so much neurological communication going on there that you can feel it. And the thing is not to overdo it. Just try it a little bit. Some people may have to sit down because of the motion. Okay. But this will help straighten out a lot of things that are going on in the body, as far as like balance and nausea and seasickness and all this stuff goes. But as that pineal gland and the heart awaken, story changes. You're in love, the words are soft, the breath is long and gentle. So these all have a breath associated with them. And that love can become horrifying if it goes wrong. So that would be where you'd go into the 5 love languages and Personalities Plus. Those 2 books, there shouldn't be anybody on planet Earth that doesn't read those 2 books because it describes everything. And if we learned that in high school, we would have a lot better relationships because we have a dominant love language. But when we're first in love, vibration, frequency, right? Story going out, one coming back, you can't spend enough time together. You don't have the words we use are words of affirmation and quality time and physical touch and all these different things that are going on inside us are all through the vibration of the pineal gland, flooding the body with chemicals. It's an activation. So as that shifts, let's say that we were covering all 5 of the love languages. And the other person was too. Like I said, can't be together enough, can't talk on the phone long enough. There's just so many things that we do, right? And then if we decide to move in together, what happens over time is that person's love language may not be yours, and yours may not be theirs, and you feel like you're growing apart. Your frequency, your vibration changes, and it can become bitterness, anger. It can become anything because your love language is not being fulfilled by each other. And it was when you first got together. So the vibration in our body through our words, our story, right? The sending out and the coming back is defining our life. And we don't even know it because nobody will talk about it. Or very few will talk about it because our influencers, let's say, call it crazy, call it foo-foo, call it nuts and seeds, whatever it is, whatever they can come up with to de-edify it is what they're going to do. I remember going to my dentist. He was a great friend of mine. We rode Harleys together. And I went in one time because I always had puffy gums and all that stuff, right? So I did the master cleanse for 10 days. And I had an appointment coming up with him. I didn't really think too much of it. I went in, sat in the chair, and he looked in my mouth. He goes, "What have you been doing? I've never seen your gums and teeth look this good." So as I started to tell him about the master cleanse and everything that happened, you could watch his eyes glaze right over. And mentally, he disappeared from the room. That's training. That's programming. And it's up to me. A lot of people would quit. They stop doing it because, well, he's a dentist. He's an amazing, amazing person. But through his training, this is what you do. And you don't do anything else. And a doctor is no different. They have a box. They have to stay inside that box or they lose everything. And it's all frequency. Their job is to scare you into medication, which is synthetic, surgery, which is slicing your nerves open. They are rebuildable through breath, because breath is what turns it on. And chemo and radiation, frequencies. All our food is frequencies. Everything is a frequency, right? So if you're eating let's say a grape, it has an electrical value to it. When it goes in, it's soothing to the digestive system, helps build the immune system, especially red and very dark grapes. As that goes in and it starts filtrating through the body, it's also affecting the pineal gland. Because there's a frequency coming up and going out into the universe. And it's coming right up through. And it's coming up through our nervous systems. But they're all connected to that little pineal gland. Those piezo crystals, when they start to shake, like I said, they start creating energy. And when they create energy and you become no one, nowhere, no place, no time, wham, you are in for a ride. So learning to to close that pelvic floor and get that golden light, golden liquid to come back up through all the chakras. You can feel it come right up through. It goes into the heart. The heart starts to open, to blossom, to relax. And it goes right up through, right into the voice box, right up into the pineal gland and out as it's receiving. And it's going back down. So they're like this, moving through. And you will have a brain orgasm. Those are awesome. And they're not hard to do, but we have to become no one, nowhere, no place, no time, and understand that that's the process, and that our breathing is the catalyst. When we lose our breath, we have no energy at all. Breath is our energy. And I don't know if you ever watched a runner or a fight or whatever it is, right? I'm talking professional fights, not that street garbage. But the minute they open their mouth, they're done, because they're gasping for breath at that point. There's so much lactic acid in their muscles that the body, the lymphatic system, can't eliminate it fast enough. And you start to lose your power. You start to lose your energy. Take a 6 people running, I don't know, quarter of a mile, let's say, around a track. The person that's the last one has the least amount of oxygen, has the least amount of energy. And you can see it in their face when they cross the line. Some people actually fall and have to crawl across the line. Their mind is stronger than their body's ability to shed the acids. Because they're pushing so hard. And when you push, you cause chaos within the body. You're pushing. I'm not talking about in life or in a job or something like that. You can help people move forward, or you can push them, micromanage. That's part of the problem with our body, is we're trying to micromanage our body when it's self-regulating. So we are literally in the way of it healing. And one of the worst things we could do is go to a place that profits from our dis-ease. And we hear a story, and that vibration comes into the pineal gland and is controlling our energy. It's because it's controlling our breath. When we're fearful, our breath is like almost non-existent. And you can feel it when you are really frightened. Your knees will start jumping up and down. If you're ticked off or pissed off, I guess the best way to say it, it's your kidneys. If you carry anger for a long time, it's in your liver. Sadness, depression, lungs, shoulders. Feel like you get the weight of the world on your shoulders. Guilt, uterus. These are all affecting our pineal gland, and our pineal gland, because of the story we're putting out and the energy we're getting back, is holding that in place. All those different spots, all those different positions, they're being held in place by that little frequency over here. And the more intense that frequency is, the more limitations it's causing as we're trying to move through life. Hips, fear of moving forward. You see people and they're like, there's a fear of moving forward. So our bodies, they're not really complicated, but we're trained that they're complicated. Do you have any questions? I've been rambling on here for a while.
Well, it was so fascinating. You were so fascinating, Gary, that I didn't dare to have to get in between of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to transcribe this part so we have it in text. And
Awesome.
yeah, because you mentioned so many things that are so important, and you're absolutely correct. It's made complicated. Even the words that the medical industry is using, we have no clue. We don't even know what it means. And then you have
Right.
all these doctors that you have one for your head and one for this and one for that, and it's like nothing works together. It's like you're all separate parts. And the time, and I know I was in my early 20s when I said something about that the whole body works together, I was laughed out. Was laughed in my face. But
Yeah.
when you talk, yes, I do have questions. You mentioned about two books that we all should have. Which are those two books?
5 Love Languages
Okay,
and Personalities Plus.
I'm writing it down.
I used to know
Okay,
the
I've
name
read
Florence.
the,
Yeah, by whom are they?
Florence Lecter did the Personalities Plus, and I'm trying to remember who did the 5 Love Languages.
I'll find it.
Yeah, because I mean, both those books, that they explain it by real life situations from people that are feeling like they're growing apart. So, like melancholy, choleric, sanguine, and phlegmatic. Those are your personalities. Well, you're one of those dominant, and as the others, they kind of fall away. Well, if you're a sanguine, you're going to party no matter what. They don't care what people think. And a lot of times, if they have a partner, they'll make them drop them off so they can make the entrance and the big splash, and then you're supposed to come in the back door because you don't want to steal their thunder. They're very protective of their happiness but they're forgetful too. Like can't remember where their car is in the parking lot, or where they put their comb down, and that's a sanguine trait. Phlegmatics, it's a beach bum. Hey man, you need to get a job. Yeah, I'm young yet. I'll get one later. They're laying down in the road. There's a car coming. Nah, don't worry about it. They got brakes. And so they're very they're connected, but they're unconnected at the same time. Something else sanguines don't like is loud noises that they're not in control of. And if you don't want to know where a sanguine is in a room, you go in a room where there's a lot of people and just go, ooh, and they will answer you. Not because they want to. They're noise activated when they're in control of it. Like a vacuum cleaner driving crazy. Unless they're the one running the vacuum cleaner. So all these little things, and these are all frequencies, they're all vibrations. And if we change our story, because we know that we can do that, it'll change the vibration going out and coming in. That's how we gain control. We're out of control when we're out in the chaos. When we're grounded to the earth and we are at peace within, we see the illusion of the world. Because it's all made up. And I think politics right now is a good example of that, because in politics, it's just a big giant soap opera.
Yeah, I've been watching them.
Yeah, and I think that it's all just part of the plan to cause the chaos, and people drop out the vibration, the frequency. They can't handle it, so they step out, but they carry that vibration in them. They're not able to let it go because they're not breathing properly, and they're not addressing it. A lot of times when in meditation things come up, those are the things that are bugging us. And we have a choice at that time to let that go. Is it serving my higher good? No. So we're already our higher self. So we're not going up to our higher self. We're just allowing it to come into the body through the pineal gland or the pineal gland.
Yeah,
which is
so we can say that the pineal gland is extremely important. And when you were talking about how it is connected to the testes, I was thinking, I talk to so many people who admit they have no sex drive anymore,
Yeah.
male and female. So
Yes.
we could say then that the pineal gland is affected, but because that is always the question, how do we fix it? In what I understand from you, it is breathing. So, because
It's,
I talk to a lot of people who really, really struggle. I mean, we have been trained, I mean, with Dr. Morris about food, and we know a lot about that and how it can affect, but people are still struggling. So I think
yes,
we it's like we have to make a course or something where we take people by the hand, in that it is also about the breathing, about your thoughts and your words, and then the food. And yeah.
yeah.
Another
So,
question came up was with insomnia. And
mhm.
I had my nights. I usually sleep pretty good. I do have a lot of dreams. I wish I wouldn't, because it makes me tired. I wake up tired. But I did experience sleepless nights where I wide awake, as if I had already slept my 6 or 8 hours. I'm wide awake. No use staying in the bed, because I'm only frustrated, so I get up. And what do you say then? And this is especially for people with insomnia, and there are many. There are many also taking
Yes,
melatonin, and we all know, you keep taking it, the body quits making it. The favorite one that I learned from Dr. Moore.
yes, yep,
But would you say that in instances like that, when that happens and you are just so wide awake, that your deep breathing, for how long, could actually help?
yes, it will. Yes. But see, a lot of people who have insomnia today are on the computers till they go to bed. And the light coming off in that is blue light. And that light is the same light as sunlight. So the pineal gland is not recognizing darkness outside and is not producing melatonin to put you to sleep. So a lot of times when they go to sleep, they're under oxygenated, for one thing. Their eyes, their pineal gland is not producing the melatonin they need. So if you shut your computer off about an hour before you go to bed, or you put on your favorite music and turn the computer around so it's not projecting at you, or radio. It's hard to find a radio these days, but anyway, a radio, and you just lay down and you do in through the nose, nice, long, deep, relaxed belly breaths. And then you exhale through the mouth. You can exhale through the nose if you want, but nice, long, deep exhales. And try to touch your belly button to your spine. And you do that. I've had people who haven't slept in years. Told them to do 10, just lay down, put on your favorite music or no music at all, whatever you prefer, and do 10 breaths, just like this, where you breathe in through the nose. And you almost want to do it so that you can't feel the air going in through your nostrils, and a belly breath. You don't even want to hear it. And you hold it for a second. And then when you exhale, you can exhale through the nose or the mouth, and it'd be good to do it through the mouth because it relaxes the heart. It heals the heart. And you really tighten your belly. Try to touch your belly button to your spine. Not possible, but I mean that's the image, right? I got that hadn't slept since Vietnam. This was a few years ago. He's never made it past 5 breaths, and he's asleep. Now it might not be 5 for you. It might be 10. It might be 15. But with every exhale, you're mentally saying, I give my body permission to relax. This is my life. And what's going on out there can go away for right now because I need my sleep so that I can be healthy and that I can heal. And you can put this in your own words. And after each breath, I give my body permission to relax. My arms relax. my chest relaxes, my stomach relaxes, my legs relax, my hands and feet relax, my head relaxes. I can feel my eyes getting very tired. And you're doing this during your exhale. And it could be like when you exhale, I give my body permission to relax. The next breath, my arms relax. Next breath, my chest and my upper back relax. And you can go right down through the body. And that's self-hypnosis. And your body will relax. And you'll go to sleep. I went through insomnia when I had my businesses because, I mean, I was doing stuff all over the world, and it was just me and my wife at that time. And so I started thinking about the jobs more and more and more and more. And the next thing I know, I wasn't sleeping. And after a while, I said, you know what? This is where I get to, this is my life. This is my life. And I need rest. So I can do the best job I can for the people that I am creating signs for. The best designs, the best materials, the best this, and the best fonts, and what's legible at a certain distance, and all those things. Well, I couldn't get to sleep because I couldn't shut it off. Well, when I told myself, that's it, I'm not doing that anymore, I'm just going to sleep because I deserve it and I can do the best for my customers. And after I did that, took a little bit, I've been sleeping all night ever since. And that was, well, I got done that sign company in 1999, if I give you an idea how long ago it was, and I'm still sleeping. Because you control it all through that little baby right there, your third eye. It's all vibration, it's all frequency. And when you're out of control, it's out of control.
So it's actually with everything, because you mentioned the little pains that we may have in our body. It's not just because I hear people, oh, I have to exercise, and then they take a car and go to a gym. And but then they are not actually in the right spot, because if you want to exercise, take a walk in the woods or in a park if you can. Now this comes to another question, because you were talking about oxygen and that we have actually lack of oxygen through our breathing, to the environment that we are in. Now you see these oxygen bars popping up everywhere. What do you think of those?
I think they're good, but oxygen can be addicting, which is why you used to not be able to buy it over the counter. But now they have a new addiction that they're allowing people. Okay. You know, it's alcohol and beer has gone up, which is also the second highest in estrogen, the hops. It's right there with soy. So I forgot where I was going with that now. No, I forgot. What was your question again? I took
It was
myself.
about the oxygen bars, and you said
yes,
people get addicted to that.
So you can now buy 95% pure oxygen in a little can for like $10 and give yourself a shot of oxygen. Now, I have a friend that has some lung issues, and he's the one who told me about it. He bought one. First hit, he slept 5 hours, and he couldn't sleep at all, because you need oxygen in your body for it to perform properly, because you're going into a low oxygen thing when you go to sleep. So you need oxygen, a proper amount of oxygen in your body to get you through the night. You know, you don't wake up laughing, but you can wake up angry, because anger takes less oxygen than laughter. So there's just some weird little things that nobody really talks about or thinks about, but it's so true. Dis-ease cannot exist in an alkaline environment, and breath is alkalizing the body. That's what the detox is about. And if you're breathing properly, about 70% of your detox is through your breath. If you're not breathing properly, then you may get, I don't know, Any percentage I pick is going to be made up. So you're not going to be releasing as much toxin as you would if you were breathing properly. That's shortness of breath. That's chest breathing, shallow breathing. And the bottom of the lungs, because the toxins are heavier, settle to the bottom. That's where your blood oxygen transfer takes place, most of it. So even as we start, that's why we do the lion's breath. We'll open up that throat and exhale that stuff out and get it out of the body. It's a vacuum that's pulling it out. And then once it's to here, we blow it out. And that's carbon dioxide. That's why it burns. It's an acid. Now we have lactic acid and we have uric acid and we have all these different acids in our body, and our body has to be able to eliminate those through the 13 channels of elimination the body must use every day to maintain its health. And that's why, to me, salt is so important, but it should be in our food, not something that we shake on it. And that table salt is processed to the max, and it's either got aluminum or sand in it to keep it from caking so that you can shake it out. And we all know aluminum is not a good thing. Sand in our body, running through our veins, not a good thing. Running through our digestive system, that whole frequency of our digestive system, as we eat, it's digesting is very acidic. It's about a 2.5, maybe even more, our stomach acid. Well, as it goes into the intestinal tract, it's going through different chambers, different areas of the intestinal tract, and I'm on the right-hand side right now. So on that track, and as it goes along, it's becoming more and more alkaline because it has to come out and not burn you. Same thing with bladder. There has to be something there to alkalize it so that when it comes out, it doesn't burn. And if it does burn, especially in the intestinal tract, it's processing too fast. And it causes things like irritable bowel syndrome, colon cancer, because the tract is too acidic, and it's coming out and it's burning. It's burning on the way through because it's not being alkalized, because your system is not performing properly. And these are frequencies, these are vibrations. And the message that's going out, that's going to the brain, going out and coming back, and the brain is producing chemicals to try to stop that, because it wants to be alkaline. The body wants to be healthy. The body knows how much it's supposed to weigh. We don't need to go to some expert to find out how much we should weigh. But the chemicals that we're eating are upsetting that balance, that frequency, and we end up being overweight, like with estrogen and all these different things they're putting in our foods that's upsetting the balance of our whole system, digestive system, the heart. The heart isn't really a pump like we're told it is. It's a vortex. We are a vortex. So our energy is spinning all the time. And when it's out of balance, it's not spinning as fast or as slow, or too slow. Let's put it that way. Too fast, too slow. Hyper. They're frequencies. And when we balance that out with our breath and we gain our frequency, our tune to the quantum field, which comes out here and comes back through here and gives life, or gives life to the frequency of the mind and the heart, our whole story will change. Our whole words, everything change about the body. But it's good to eliminate the chemicals that are blocking those kinds of things. So it goes back to, you can have 500,000 different diseases if you want. but know that when they come up with a new disease, they have to name it with a new symptom, let's say. They have to name it before they can create a drug for it. And what comes with drug research? Money. More and more money. And the more things they can find out that's wrong with you, the more drugs they can give you. Synthetic, made from petroleum. So these are the things we have to be careful of. They've taken away our power through fear. You know, when you look at the Dalai Lama, you can tell that guy anything. And a lot of times he laughs, and they're really sad stories because he knows it's a story. Just like a success story is a story. And has a vibration, a frequency associated with it. And they will not allow, the more successful they are, they've probably gone through the trials and tribulations of low frequency things happening to them, and they've learned to turn it off. And it doesn't exist in their life anymore. And they're getting higher and higher frequencies that are taking them into more and more success. And the people who are unable to do that, who are riding the vibrational train downhill, become susceptible to everything. And it all starts with fear. As you're going down, fear, the more fear you have, the lower your vibration goes, and the less defense you have, because it affects your immune system. So there are so many little tiny things that happen, and they're all activated through the breath, because the breath is what turned it on. So as we learn to control our breath, we learn to control our emotions. As we learn to control our emotions, we elevate within our own body. Our tuning becomes more advanced, and our understanding becomes more advanced. When you want to learn something in the matrix, you go to school and you pay for that. When you learn to breathe, open up the pineal gland, the information, true information from the void where everything exists, comes down and comes through you, because your pineal gland is open to a different frequency. That's all through our story. It's all through this thing shaking. And it's all through our breath, moving that primal brainstem and expanding. So it's really cool stuff. I
Are
love
you
this stuff.
aware that you have been saying some really profound things?
No, no, I'm not. It's
Well,
coming
actually,
through.
for us, you have, and for many people, because we don't realize all this. We're too focused on, I think, the wrong things.
Yeah, well, that's the influence that's around us. They
Yeah,
want us doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, it's like we get trapped in our own vibration, our own frequency, and we don't know how to let go of it. Well, breath is how you let go. Inhale love, exhale disruption, dis-ease. We don't, there's so many things in there, we don't even know are in there.
Yeah.
And it's all in our spine, in our tissues.
I want to give Sarah an at least in a moment. You still there, Sarah?
I am.
All
Yeah.
right.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay. I think I have sweat in my headphones, so what I was gonna say is I love this. I love all the information. And Toni, I'm glad you are going to be transcribing this, because I think it's very important. And one of the other things too that I always recommend, and I even do within myself, is going for walks. People underestimate the importance of going for a walk, especially maybe like an evening walk, as when I love to go for the walk. I like to go for my walk, and I sort out my day in my head. And at the same exact time, when you were talking about keeping your eyes moving, this was a while ago when you were talking about that in the show, But when you're walking, your eyes are moving. Your peripheral vision is
Yes.
picking up things in the sides of your eyes, and you don't
Hmm.
even realize that you're exercising your eyes. And so your whole body is getting exercise during a walk. And if you can walk alone, that's great. I mean, it's a very good time for yourself. And then if you walk with your partner, going back to like when you're talking about the love languages and stuff,
Hmm.
walking and talking is so underrated as well. You can, just talk about really deep things when you're walking. I don't know what it is, but even when, like from my very first heartbreak to, the loss of my stepdad to a loss of a pet, my mom would say, let's go for a walk. And we would just go for a walk and we would cry, we would talk, we would walk. I mean, it's just so, it's so helpful. And it also helps with sleep. It helps clear your mind. You're out in nature. If you can walk barefoot, even better. And make sure to hug your trees as you go by them. And even if it looks
Yes.
weird, just try to make it casual. And but I know at the point of my life, the greatest thing is as you get older, the least you care. So it's just like whatever. And people always ask me like, "How are you? You guys are always so happy and stuff." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Well, we don't care what other people you know think, and we just try to shine our light the best we can." And just do what is natural, and what is natural isn't complicated. Like you don't have to go to the heart doctor, the head doctor, the nose doctor, the ENT, all that stuff. Doctors are fantastic if you got something like an accident or you're bleeding really bad, stuff like that. But for long-term medicine, we really do know what's right for ourselves. If we just
Yeah.
quiet our minds and listen, we will know what to do. And it does start with the breath, and it starts with the walking and the connecting. So that's all my input I wanted to say.
Yeah, and when we walk by the ocean, especially if we're
Oh, my
barefoot,
favorite. Yeah.
yeah, all those negative ions in the air, the salt in the air, there are so many things in the air that we're breathing in, and it's helping to heal our body. It's helping to relax it. And the woods is not the same thing, but it is the same thing, because the oxygen falling off the trees is, when and there are two ways to move the eyes. One is we move our head, right? But the other one is we're moving the muscles of our eyes, but our eyes are actually staying still. So I don't know if I can get close enough, but if I'm looking at my eyes here, see, I'm turning my head, but my eyes are fixed in one place. This is turning on so many neurons in the body. It is mind blowing. And from here up, you can tune your whole body. You can awaken your cerebellum, your frontal lobes, everything here. And so we fix our eyes and we just pick our head up and down, but we look at that one spot and we can hold at the top and we can hold at the bottom. And we breathe the whole time we're doing this, just whatever's natural breath for you. And then we move side to side and you can feel those muscles start to activate. And the X pattern probably would be considered the hardest, but I don't think it's hard. You can focus on your nose or your chin, and your chin goes up and your head goes back, and it comes straight back down and down this way. So this area of the neck is stretching, and here, this area of the neck is stretching. Oops, gotta keep my eyes on the spot here. And then we can go in the other direction. And you really can't do this wrong. You'll feel into it. But this will change everything up here. The ability to drain the waste out of the head, the ability to clear plaque if there is any building up there, because that plaque on top of your head, the pineal gland needs that to be clean to transmit and receive. And if plaque comes up here, it's like cutting the antenna off and you can't remember. This is what dementia and Alzheimer's is about. It's plaque building on the inside of the skull. And pineal gland is not able to transmit and receive like it used to. Or it's stuck in depending on your age, 1950 or 60 or 70, or, the good old days. Let's put it that way. You're stuck in the good old days. And you can't get out. You're set in your ways. And set in your ways is your rib cage's inability to expand and contract when you take a breath. So your back, everything, it has a hard time. So getting that loosened back up, telling your body to relax that, to use your fingers in between your rib cage because there's all that muscle and tissue in there. And if you can't find out where they are in between, don't worry about it. Just rub back and forth across the chest. You can even go under the arm and get these lymph nodes. Okay. And this will help loosen that tissue up so that you are able to take a deep, full breath. So gate 1 is above the collarbone, right next to the gate, right next to the collarbone. And right underneath the collarbone, there is a hole there. This is where the top of the rib cage starts. So if this gets tight, if this is sore, it can be closing off this gate. So this is something that we want to get into. And if you don't have time to do all 6 gates, okay, do this one for sure. This is where everything runs into here. And this is why behind the ear is so close to that, is to drain the head. But it's a good idea to help it to do. These are manual things we're doing to a process that, gravity and electricity is supposed to take care of. But because of the foods we're eating, they're not staying open. They're not staying clean. So everything from the feet has to travel up through the 6th gate. The 6th gate behind the knees, the 5th gate, your groin, the 4th gate, belly button up through the sternum, over to the 3rd, up to the 1st. Has to travel all that way up. So that gives you an idea how important it is for this lymph node and this channel to come down to gate 1, how close it is. There's a lot going on in the head. There's a lot of energy up here. And it's creating a lot of waste, and it needs to get down in there so that the body can eliminate it through those 13 channels. So, like I said, I love this stuff.
Okay, we've been on for an hour and a half, so we are going to close it.
Right.
Thank you so much, Gary. Oh my God. The stuff that I learned from you, and we all do. And I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you. And it's always a pleasure to be on the show. And I want to be able to spread this word around the world so that we can all get our health back.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you so much as well, too, Gary. And I just want to say something, too. And Toni, I know you've known a little bit, but I've had to how long have I been moving my horse now? 2 weeks. But he's in a safe place, and it's like a place like heaven. And I handed over to God, and God did bring me this amazing person and this amazing place. He's with other horses now, even girls, and he's getting along so well. I couldn't be more happy. And I was very afraid, and I kept just praying and trusting and breathing, and I would go for my walks. Plus, I'm not kidding when I say I've been working probably since 7 a.m. until late at night, almost every night, taking down a whole other thing too. But I'm even working now. I'm power washing as we talk. But the whole process, and because of everything that I've learned from, hold on, sorry, my headphone just died. Okay, and because, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and because of the process that I've learned through all of you and everything, I feel that it has brought me to this point where this came true for me. And I think that's where you were really bringing together mind, body, and spirit. And everything comes together. So I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for, Charlie and Colleen teaching me how to pray. I'm grateful for Toni for teaching me this, Gary teaching me about the breathing and stuff. Just all of it has come together, and it really does work. And I can also tell you too,
I have not been eating, and it's not because of like stress or anything. I eat in the evening, and I've been doing, I have had some potato here and there, but not much. It was mainly sweet potato, but I've been eating grapes, and I have been drinking, of course, lots of water and my juices. And we tried having a breakfast quote, like our breakfasts are, bananas or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel better when I'm not eating. And people think you have to have this food to make your body work.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, like I'm drenched in sweat because like I think we're 100 degrees here today, Fahrenheit. And I still feel fine without eating. I have more energy and all this other stuff. So listen to what they're all teaching you all and trust the path, find God, do your belly breathing and walk. And if you have questions, reach out. We're all willing to help in any way what we can. So, but I have so much love and respect for you all, and thank you all so much.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for always being here. You are
One way or
you
another.
are a very important part of our teachings and especially all your experiences. I learned a lot from you.
Yes. And no sunglasses. I haven't had sunglasses on and I'm still not burnt.
Right.
Oh, well, what a wonderful show. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for being here. And I would say till the next time, the only time that we are not going to be here will be the 4th of July.
Okay.
So, and that is on a Thursday in 2 weeks. And I have a family member from the Netherlands coming tomorrow.
Wonderful.
She's a delightful and amazing woman. And because, of how we eat and drink, she starts now, and she is a meat eater, standard food. She starts her day now with orange juice. So there is
Yay.
that.
Oh, so
But we're
good.
going to travel a lot. We're going to the beach and we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. We're going just
Yay.
into the swamps and who knows what else. But yeah, it's going to be fun. She will be here for 2 weeks.
Wonderful.
So, but I will be here next week.
Me too.
So, thanks everybody. And till soon again. Love you all. And till the next time.
Bye-bye.
Right. Love you guys. Love you both.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye.
great time.